Right, this is a video on how to cook a brined ham, a leg of pork, and bring it out as a smoked ham. And the process starts with ordering the piece of meat from your butchers. Today we're going to be cooking a pork leg. It weighs just over 5 kilograms and it has been pumped and brined by the butcher for 3 days. Next I'll describe how to set up the barbecue and how much fuel you have to put in and how long you have to cook it for. We're cooking on a 57 centimetre Weber, and it's important when you set the Weber up that you have the legs and the vents in the right position. If you take a note here, the leg without the wheel has 2 vents on each side of the barbecue and a single vent between the 2 wheels. When you're cooking, this leg faces into the wind and the vents are fully open during the cooking process. You ready? Next step in the process is to get the fire right. If you want to cook the meat properly, you have to have a very hot fire for a smoked ham, and it has to last. The ham that we're cooking today will take 4 hours, so you have to have a full load of heat beads in there. But the first step of the process is to get them lit and wait for them to be fully alight. So we start off with Jiffy fire lighters. So you put these in the charcoal baskets, like so, at least 3 on each side. Okay, then we fill the baskets up to the top and even overfill them a bit. These are used heat beads that were from the previous cooking, so we can use about 50% of those and 50% of fresh ones.
Say something about the configuration of the barbecue.
So now we're about to light the barbecue. The first thing to check is to make sure that the front leg is facing into the wind. The lid can hang on the handle on the opposite side, and that the vents are fully open.
We've got a basket of beads on each side, and the ham's going to be cooked in the middle, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Now that quantity of heat beads will take around 45 minutes to be fully alight, and you can tell when they're fully alight when all of the beads are coated with a layer of white ash. It's very important that you don't get impatient and start to cook before the beads are fully alight. Okay, next step is to prepare the pork for cooking. First thing to do is to pat it dry with paper towel.
Talk about the history of the pork.
The pork has been ordered from our butcher to be pumped. That is, the butcher pumps it with a hypodermic full of saline solution, and then once we rely on him to do just enough, and then this is immersed in a brine tank for 3 days. Then once it comes out of the brine tank, it's ready for cooking, and because it's preserved by the salt solution, you don't have to cook it straight away. Keep it in the fridge until you're ready, sometime within the next few days. But before you're ready to cook, take it out of the refrigerator and let it come to room temperature. Something like this is 5 kilos. It's a half a leg pork. This is 2 to 3 hours in the kitchen, will allow it to come to room temperature. So first thing we do now is put a bit of olive oil on the skin. Now we're not trying to make crackle like a roast pork, but one of the side benefits of this is that this skin will be delicious to eat. It won't look like normal crackle. It'll be very dark because of the smoking. You don't score it with a knife, you leave it in one piece. So we put some olive oil on it, and then a reasonably generous coating of rock salt or sea salt. Now that's now ready to go into the barbecue when it's fully alight, which is probably 30 minutes from now. Just another word about lighting the kettle. You leave the lid off during the lighting process. Okay? Do not put the lid on, as that'll smother the fire. And you'll also find that after 10 minutes or so, the firelighters, the flames will disappear, and it's at this point that you may think nothing is happening. But as you can see now, there is no flames evident, but there is heat in there, and the heat will gradually permeate through the rest of the beads. That'll take about 45 minutes. Okay, now it's time to put the meat in. First thing to do is foil pans between the two fires to catch all the fat and the dripping, otherwise it'll make a lot of mess. The first one in there, second one in there, and then the grill goes on. It's important that the grill handles go over the fires because you have a hole here through which you feed the small pieces to create the smoke. Here I've got some examples of the type of wood that I use. This is jarrah, these are offcuts of floorboards, and this is Banksia nut, which we collect when we go out into the bush. Either of those will give a nice smoky flavour to the meat, but you can use hickory or tea tree, and there are numerous places where you can buy smoked wood. So you'll find the one that you like the most. Now, we're ready to put the meat in. Now, to protect the edges of the meat from the fierce heat from the fire, because of the shape of the ham, they're not specifically well suited to the shape of the grill, we put a foil deflector on the grill, which stops, which is going to be a bit difficult with all the wind we've got today. So we put this on here just to keep the fierce heat away from the meat and stop it from completely charring on us. Okay. This is about the best position we can get the meat in. Okay. Piece of wood on the fire. In this case I'll have to put it directly above the fire because the coals are so high. They will start to burn in a few minutes. Lid goes on, vent near the handle on the front leg, and the vent is fully open. The vents are fully open during the whole cooking time. Now we don't need to touch that for at least half an hour before we put some more wood on it.
One, go.
Okay, so now the ham has been cooking for 3.5 hours. It's time to go to the next step, which is the removal of the skin and the glazing process. As you can see, the skin on the ham is very dark, and that's caused by the smoking. But it tastes unbelievable. This is simply a jar of marmalade. You can be a bit more creative with this if you wish. But from experience, marmalade does a wonderful job. Okay, that should be enough. Put the lid back on. Another half an hour in the barbecue, 15 minutes to rest, then we'll carve it. Okay, here's the finished product. 4 hours in the Weber, 3.5 hours with the skin on, half an hour with the skin off, glazed with orange marmalade. We've already eaten all of the crackle. That lasted about 5 minutes. And that's how you do it. Thanks for watching.